All right, Shane, I'll have you continue on with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, Baltimore is interesting because last year they win 8
They won
last
8.
year? Yeah,
Would have won 9.
and now they're like, okay, yeah, and now they're like, yeah, people have them, like in top 5 of Super Bowl odds.
Yeah, no.
Um, which, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Um, they did lose their best offensive lineman in Tyler Linbaum, um,
Vicky.
and kind of
Hello,
like
hello.
hello, um, kind of like Pittsburgh. There's a lot of old on this team.
This whole division's going to have that theme.
Yeah. The difference though is um, Baltimore. Pittsburgh. I feel like is old because and this is not just this year. This has been the theme for the last several years with both of these teams. Pittsburgh is old because they're just still hanging on to the guys that they've had
Yeah.
forever, and they get attached to them, which I understand. Um, Baltimore is old because they find a veteran player who they see value in. So there's a bit of a difference, um, and so you know with uh, with Baltimore, I do like this roster. I think this is a killer
Yeah.
defense. Um, and offensively, there's a lot to like. I mean, the offensive line obviously not quite as good. Um, but when you have the fastest quarterback in the league and the strongest bull rushing running back in the league, I don't know if I'm that concerned about it. Um, I mean, it doesn't help, obviously, but um, I think the biggest thing for me is just going to be, are they going to be able to pass the ball efficiently? Because their receiving group is, let's say, inconsistent.
That's the best
um,
way to put it.
to put it nicely, lots of speed, but not always a lot of hands. So, uh, you know, we'll that we'll have to see on that. So I'm gonna say Zay Flowers for my X factor. Um, but I'll tell you what, Jesse Minter, love that hire. I think he is. Um, I've said before, like I feel like um, Mike McDonald is Sean McVay defense. To me, Jesse Minter is like Matt LaFleur on defense. Just that, um, like not quite the top guy, but like pretty close. Um, and just kind of that, um, like that 3-4 under scheme that we see with Mike McDonald that's becoming more and more popular. Um, so this should be a top 5 defense in the league. I mean, last year he was a defensive coordinator for the Chargers, and they were like borderline top
Mm-hmm.
5. And this is a far more talented defense than that was. Um, so, I mean, in theory, they should be a top 5 defense. Um, I think for me, and we know they can run the ball between Lamar and Henry. To me, the question is just, can they throw it consistently if they need to? So, um, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with them. What's their over under? I'm curious about that.
Over under for them is 11.5.
That's steep.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do there. I'll be real.
I'm saying slightly. I'm
I
saying
guess
slightly under.
slightly under.
Yeah, slightly under.
Yes, slightly under,
I mean,
like
yeah,
10.
I was thinking like
Yeah.
11, probably.
Yeah.
So.
Brandon, continue on Baltimore.
I think one thing, and I had to actually look this up because I was curious. before the show, but I said even when we had the whole coaching carousel that Jesse Minter was my favorite guy of the bunch because of how great he is defensively, how great of a defensive mind he is, and that's like he had to go to a team that needed defensive help and that has the pieces there, and that's exactly what Baltimore is. So, I said it when they got him. I said like Baltimore's got the names. They just needed the damn coach to get them, so that defense doesn't look like a wet paper bag all season long. You know, so with Minter, I mean, everywhere that he's been, and I should say, and it really is everywhere because he is familiar with this Baltimore Ravens team. He's familiar with Lamar Jackson at the very least, so he at least knows him and has seen him. Um, and the thing is, too, obviously being a more defensive head coach, Lamar is going to see his defense in practice too. So it's only going to be like an iron sharpens iron situation, I feel like. So I think that, he's the perfect hire. He was my favorite hire this offseason. And I think that they finally have a coach that has a ton of experience that, will be there for however many years he wants to be there, as long as they play winning football, which they should. And I mean, like I said, this was a team that missed out of the playoffs because they literally did not have a kicker last year. So, like, they were literally like I keep saying, a missed field goal away from winning this division, barely, but winning this division and making the playoffs.
By the way, Loop is still there, so
That's horrific. But that gives me some pause. But then again, what do you want from a rookie kicker who gets thrust into the fire like that right away? But it was still a bad miss regardless. I still like their defense, and you know what? And I think this is important, and I think we're kind of overlooking this a little bit. My X factor for them, I think, and because it helps within the division, because he knows this division, is Trey Hendrickson. I think that is going to be really important. I think you have him now. Now, listen, they are getting older, but that defense is still really good. But they added Calais Campbell to it. They added Trey Hendrickson to it. So I think those two additions are I think the best that any defense has made this offseason. So I think that if Trey Hendrickson's healthy in a Jesse Minter defense, that is a very scary sight. And I think that Calais Campbell, obviously the guy is a future Hall of Famer. He's just the poster child of consistency every year of his career. So, I think he's only going to benefit from this. And of course, because having those two guys anchoring your D line essentially, that's going to open it up for everybody else. Matabuke is going to get a lot of one-on-ones. You're going to have, their secondary is going to get chances to because that D line is going to put so much pressure on the offense. You're going to have the D line getting chances to jump routes and you already got Nate Wiggins back there. Malachi Starks, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton. Those guys just need to be a little bit more healthy, but they're still great when they are on the field. So when you combine Minter with this roster, I said it even before division periods. I'm like, this team should win this division. There's no reason they shouldn't. And at 11.5, I'll say 11, but because I just don't think they're going to win 12 or 13. That's crazy expectations for a first year head coach here. So I don't think so, but because we all know what first year head coaches, it always takes time to gel. So I think that 11 is fine. I think they win this division. I think that's basically my X factor is Hendrickson. So I think that, I can see why Zay Flowers makes sense though, because listen, we all know how I feel about the guy. I don't know how the hell he had 1,200 receiving yards last year because the guy, all he does was fumble balls late in the clutch. So I don't know how the hell that's possible, but yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pull for Shane. But I think for me, it's Hendrickson. So
yeah.